Season 2, Episode 13, Aftershock, Part 2, written by Amy Wolfram and directed by Alex Soto. Part 2 opens, we get like sort of a recap thing. These episodes typically aired week to week, so you had to wait a whole week to find out what happened. Terra's narrating about how she's defeated the Titans and stuff. A little bit of time has passed since the previous episode, as now she's like with Slade and his like Slade bots, and mostly like Terra's crazy earthbending powers has taken over the entire city. The sequence is also like a little more stylized than is usual for this show, but partly that's to like sort of remind the audience where we're at and what the stakes are and stuff. We get a brief clip of the like heart box that Beast Boy made for her a few episodes ago, shattering. Plenty of visual metaphorical stuff there. I'm sure you could analyze. She's destroying her relationship to the Titans. She's gone full villain. Her heart is cold and dead. Any number of those things fit thematically. Terra and Slade have taken over the entire city. They've succeeded. They won. At this point in the show, this is like the highest the stakes have been. And not just physically too, because like the whole city's been threatened and so the most amount of things are happening, but emotionally as well. Titans have never lost a fight like this before, where it wasn't just like losing to a villain, but losing to a former friend. They didn't just lose the fight against Terra, but they lost the fight for Terra. And yeah, they took over the city. They succeeded. In the first part, where Terra was framed as more just like she's the villain now, and we're from the Titans' perspective. The second part is back to framing it from Terra's perspective, and we start to see that she is still sympathetic, and that she is kind of still a victim here, even though she's done her full villain turn. So when we get into the main juice of the episode, the Titans are no longer messing around. In the first part, they were still holding back a little bit because they were trying to reason with Terra and hoping that she would turn back to the good side. But now they've realized that she might be too far gone and they have to treat her like any other villain. So no more holding back from the Titans. And they prove that they are a force to be reckoned with when they aren't holding back. Beast Boy especially is like pissed off. And because we're from Terra's perspective in this episode, the Titans actually come off like kind of scary. The city's been like destroyed to an extent, and so there's like all this like fog and rubble and stuff, and the Titans are like going after her without mercy, and it's like kind of scary. Cool way to flip the script. Like, well, tonally this second part feels pretty different from the first, mostly just because we're from a different perspective, but I think it works. I think it's a very cool way to reinforce that actually, no, Terra is still sympathetic. She more or less gets defeated by the Titans, but retreats in order to try to regroup. Meanwhile, Slade pulls a polymerization card and is able to combine Cinderblock, Plasmus, and Overload into one giant monster thing that the Titans have to fight. It's more just to have like a big boss fight while there's like more dramatic stuff happening in the foreground. It's kind of cool, but like I don't have a lot to say about this because I'm much more interested in the Terra stuff. So Terra retreats to this like underground base that Slade is at, and he slaps the shit out of her. This episode pulls no punches because Slade does not tolerate failure, and Terra failed to defeat the Titans, so to Slade she's a failure. And yeah, he kind of beats the shit out of her. It's pretty fucking brutal. Again, this episode's fucking dark. And yeah, who would have guessed? Slade turns out to be super abusive and, you know, not a good guy. The other Titans are mostly busy fighting this fusion monster, but Beast Boy sneaks away and is able to track down Terra, as Terra's having this realization that Slade is an asshole. She's like, all right, fuck this, I'm out of here. But of course, Slade is like, no, I own you now, basically. He reminds her that the suit she's wearing has like tapped into her nervous system and she can't take it off. And it allows Slade to physically control her. So she can't leave. She's trapped with him. Beast Boy arrives and at first is like there to stop Terra, but when he sees like how distressed she is, he again tries to reach out to her. Terra tells Beast Boy to destroy me before I like cause more harm. And if you don't know, many at least American children's cartoons or targeted towards children's cartoons have certain censorship rules. One of them is that you usually can't say the word kill, Sometimes certain things get away with it, but typically they don't like it when you say kill. So you'll have a lot of villains being like, I'm going to destroy you, and stuff like that. So, like, Terra saying, quick, destroy me before I, like, hurt anyone else is kind of her asking Beast Boy to kill her. If there were no censors, that's probably what she would be saying. But Beast Boy is like, I'm not going to do that. And he tries to reach out to Terra and get her to, like, fight against Slade's control. He's like, no, you've always had a choice. You chose to side with Slade, but you can choose to fight against him. You can choose to rise above his control. He doesn't control like you. You still have will over yourself. Kind of in a like willpower sort of way, Terra is able to overcome Slade's control, at least enough to fight back against him. But her powers are kind of going haywire. They're deep underground and earthquake type things are going down. We get like a quick line about how she's causing some type of volcanic eruption. So things are bad. She tells Beast Boy to get out of there, which he reluctantly does. Terra is mostly through willpower alone, just able to break free from Slade's grasp on her. And well, this could kind of seem like she couldn't do it, but then she does it by doing it. I feel like it works here because this show is very like heavy on emotion and like thematically what's happening versus the literal. And Slade is controlling her physically here, but he's also controlling her like emotionally by like emotionally manipulating her and stuff. So when Terra's able to like break free of that emotional control, it leads to her being able to break free of the physical control as well. And I think that works, even if it slightly goes against the but he said that he's controlling her and that she can't break free. Well, shut up. I like it. So this underground base is like falling apart. Terra's able to at least hold it together long enough so that Beast Boy can escape. Slade fucking dies. He falls into the lava and melts. And yes, we only get this one shot of his mask melting, and you could argue that maybe he got away and only his mask melted. No, he fucking dies. Does Slade come back later in the show? Kind of. But it does not undo the fact that he fucking dies in this scene. We'll get to that much later on, but just know that Slade fucking dies in this sequence. We can't say kill, but we can melt Slade in lava. I don't know what the rules are, but apparently that's allowed. And then Terra sacrifices herself. There's big eruption, but Beast Boy and the rest of the city are out of harm's way due to Terra's actions. Then we see Terra, and she's dead. She's turned into volcanic rock. She dies. And it's fucking tragic and sad. There's like one line about, we're gonna try to see if we can find a way to reverse what happened to her. And it's like, yeah, but what do you mean reverse? She's fucking dead. She's a rock. She dead. Like, I guess they probably couldn't specifically state that she was dead, but like, that's what happens. Like, it's pretty, you can see it. And it's just kind of sad. For the majority of Terra's appearances in this arc, she was mostly a victim, and it sucks. And like, that's the episode. They give her like a plaque on her, what becomes her grave, becoming a statue, like sort of immortalizing her, but in this like dark, sad way. And she gets this plaque that says like, a Teen Titan, a true friend. At the end of the day, she was still the Titan's friend. And even though she did bad things, she was ultimately a good person, worthy of love and redemption. She gets to die a hero, even though she made a bunch of bad mistakes. And it doesn't feel cheap, like in a lot of ways, that a villain redeeming themselves by sacrificing themselves at like the very end of the story sometimes can. Because we've had like so much of seeing stuff from Terra's perspective, and Terra being a young teen, manipulated by an older creepy man, like, is not at fault for her actions. Obviously, like, people should take some responsibility for their wrongdoings or whatever. It's such a fucking tragedy. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. It's truly just a tragic story. This young girl on her own, probably an orphan, definitely homeless, tries to find a family in this group of misfits, but is too insecure or afraid to really fully trust them, which leads her down this dark path to be taken advantage of by a predator, She ends up making a bunch of bad choices, like betraying the only friends that she's really ever had. And then by the time she realizes like how bad things have gotten for her and that she like needs to get out, she has to die tragically for that to happen. It's fucked up. I was struggling to figure out what the lesson is here, if there even is one. And at first I was thinking it's more for Terra to like stay away from the Slades of the world, but I don't think that's quite it. I think it's actually more for the Titans, and for them to learn to not give up on people, to not give up on a friend, even when that friend makes mistakes, even when that friend hurts you, to not give up on them and to keep reaching out and to keep trying to show them love. I think that's it. Don't give up on people, especially when they make mistakes. I don't know, but it fucked me up as a kid. I'll tell you that much, and it fucks me up even more as an adult because you're like kind of more aware of the more real implications of this type of story. Like, yes, it's super heroics and it's a cartoon, but again, that's like sort of why I don't really like the term. It's a kid's cartoon. Yeah, but adults can watch it and get shit out of it, and you have like some really dark fucking shit in here. So, and I think that's a good thing. I think kids should be challenged with darker material. But I also want to like push back against this concept of like it's dark, therefore it's good. I don't want to like claim that either. I saw this one really good video essay about Zelda and like people talking about the Zeldas that are the darkest Zelda, and therefore they're the best Zelda because they're dark and fucked up. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're like deep and have something to say just because something is like dark and fucked up. That's not the same as something being deep. And I think this episode isn't just dark for darkness' sake. I think there is a lot more going on here. Sure, you have a bit of a cautionary tale angle as well, but it's also just like this really morally complex situation, which is very interesting in a show that's the majority of the time very good guys and bad guys, and the good guys stop the bad guys. And then it's like this arc where there's a new character introduced. We think she's good, but then maybe she's the bad guy actually, except that maybe she doesn't want to be the bad guy and just like made some bad choices and now is in this like fucked up situation and she can't get out, and then she dies tragically. Now what? I do think I wish there was a little more like fallout of this. Like, obviously this affects all the characters pretty immensely, but we don't really hear about Terra again, except for one episode, which we'll eventually get to, because most episodes are like self-contained, and that's like sort of the thing that's I guess the most interesting to me. It's this like really nuanced situation in a show where the theme song is like they're the heroes and they defeat the bad guys and they've never met a villain that they liked and good will always triumph and stuff like that. And then it's like this fucked up situation where you just end up feeling really bad for this character and then she dies. And it's challenging, you know, like it makes you think about the characters and the world on a deeper level. Yes, it's a fun cartoon, but it has all this like really complex emotional stuff going on and really dark subtext and interesting, complex thematic things as well. That's what this show can be, and that's the like meat of like what makes this show interesting. There's a reason this arc is like remembered as one of the best of the series. The stuff with like Robin and Slade in the first season is good, but this storyline just takes a lot of those same complex ideas and elevates them to an entire another level. It's really fucking good storytelling, and that's the main thing. Is it's just like, I don't even really know if I have good words to explain it. Just like very engaging and complex characters and emotions that were challenging their audience. This is airing like around the same time as like SpongeBob. And then you go to like this shit and it's like totally different. And this is like the type of storytelling you can do with these characters and the type of thing that like sticks with people. It's why a lot of the fans, myself included, really pushed back against stuff like Teen Titans Go that felt like such a watered down version of the show when we know it could be at such a high level. But we'll get into some of that a lot more another day. This is possibly peak Teen Titans. There's one more arc that rivals it, which we'll get to a little bit down the road. But yeah, absolutely fucking great stuff all around. Check this episode out if you haven't already, even though I already just told you what happens. I recommend watching this show. I like it. It's good. Also, I really like this shot where Terra pushes her hair out of her eye and says it's never too late. But that's gonna wrap things up for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe for more stuff. We're gonna go through the whole show, so we're not stopping here. I am gonna take a bit of a break after this episode. I got some other stuff going on, and I wanted to do a few other non-Teen Titans related videos, but don't worry, we will be back again very soon with season 3 of Teen Titans. So thank you again for watching. Let me know in the comments, were you traumatized from the Terra arc? I know I sure was. That's it. Please subscribe. Bye.